What's up, everybody? This is Jose from Southern Life. On this video, we're going to talk about, is Florida right for you? Let's get into it. And by the way, I am not a realtor, so this is the real deal. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to make up stories about, how great Florida is. This is the real deal. If you're really thinking about Florida, I'm going to let you know, is it really right for you? And again, I'm not a realtor. I'm not trying to sell you a house. I'm just a YouTuber. I've been all over Florida, all over Alabama, Georgia, the Kentucky, Tennessee, the whole South. So I'm going to tell you from my perspective if I think Florida is right for you. And we're going to touch a few things that most realtors probably aren't going to touch. The first one being that Florida is freaking wild. It's real in the field, and a lot of these realtors aren't going to tell you how wild it is in Florida, but it's absolutely insane. And some of these realtors are living in towns that are absolutely wild, and they're not going to tell you about it. Some of these places are like Newport Richie, talking about like Lake Worth, Florida. These are places that have like incredibly wild hoods, and these realtors, they're not going to let you know what the truth is. They're trying to tell you buy this house. So yeah, for a fact, if you're looking at Florida, watch out for these realtors. And number one thing that you need to know about Florida is that it's actually wild as crap in Florida. Could it be the humidity? Could it be the heat? Could it be all the sunshine that makes people go nuts? Insomnia from not getting enough sleep or something? Who knows what the crap it is. I do know that when I moved to Alabama, my sleeping pattern improved a lot. Just the balance of day and night and not so much sunshine helps your body create melatonin, and you're able to sleep more. So maybe all that sunshine constantly down there makes people go absolutely nuts. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's in the drinking water. Who knows what? But yeah, definitely it's wild as crap in Florida, and you will definitely see some scary crap out there. I'm sure you've heard about Florida man, and you don't hear about Alabama man or Georgia man or West Virginia man or Iowa man. You hear about Florida man on the news, and you're definitely going to meet some of these wild people. It's absolutely nuts in Florida. So that's the first thing you need to know. If you're coming from a place that's kind of quiet and low-key, like from small town in Michigan or something, you're going to see some wild stuff out there eventually. Number two, the fishing in Florida is amazing. There's no other state that's like Florida when it comes to fishing. Whether you like saltwater fishing or freshwater fishing, the fishing in Florida is incredible. Whether you're in Southwest Florida or Southeast Florida, Northwest, anywhere in Florida, the fishing in Florida is incredible. If you like nature, you like fishing, the fishing down there is incredible, and it's like really part of life down there. If you're going to move to Florida, most guys are going to want to do some fishing. The saltwater fishing is incredible. You're eventually going to go fishing in Florida, and it's not like, I've been in Alabama now for 8 months, and I just like yesterday or the day before caught my first bass in Alabama. So I caught one fish in 8 months. I've caught like 20 fish, 40 fish in one day in Florida. Whether fishing freshwater or saltwater, the fishing is incredible, and it's far superior to any other state that I've known about. Maybe like Alaska or something could be better. But overall, the fishing in Florida is incredible. Number three, it's horrible, but the heat and the sunlight and the UV rays, if you're a light complexion person, like my wife Katie, she's from Michigan, it's really bad. It's horrible. So if you're a white woman from Michigan or Wisconsin and you move to Florida for 3 years, after 3 years, you're going to look like a white man from Arkansas. I mean, your skin is just going to be in horrible shape. And like when we went to Cuba, Cuba's only like 90 miles from Florida, but just going that little extra step into Cuba, we did a family road trip, and me and my dad, everybody, we got a little bit of a sunburn. My wife's sunburn needed medical attention. It was like that. It was just horrible. So if you're light complexion, definitely the heat, not only, like I said, it's going to affect your sleeping pattern, but it's also going to affect your skin condition. A lot of people get skin cancer. It's horrible. So if you're a light complexion person, watch out for that. Number four is don't let the palm trees fool you. Not everybody's on vacation, and you're not going to be on vacation forever. Florida's a great place to vacation. It's a horrible place to live full time. So don't let the palm trees fool you. Don't believe that everybody in Florida is living on vacation. There's some people in some real life situations. You might go into a neighborhood and you might just see the palm trees, but there's metal bars on the windows, there's metal bars on the air conditioners, and there's real life situations going on. You might come from a place up north where bad neighborhoods or run down. There's no run down neighborhoods in Florida. There's no burnt down houses in bad neighborhoods because, first of all, for a house to be burnt down, it means that a homeless person on a cold night broke in and lit a fire, and then the fire burned on the house. And so yeah, that doesn't happen in Florida. It never gets that cold down there. But some of these neighborhoods may not look bad. They may have big palm trees and beautiful colors on the houses. It's still the hood, and if you move in there as an outsider into the wrong neighborhood, best believe your TV will be in a pawn shop. Number 5, and this is really one of the most important points, and I mean I could elaborate on it forever, but if your net worth or your house that you're buying is under $300,000, you probably don't want to end up in Florida. At about $300,000, you get to the point where it makes sense to be in Florida. So if you're buying a $300,000 house or higher, Florida becomes competitive compared to other states. If you're under $300,000, if your budget for a house is $200,000 or $150,000 or $220,000 or $240,000, it's not the best state for you because in that price range, you'll get a whole lot better neighborhood, a whole lot bigger house in other states. At about $300,000, houses kind of level out. So if you're over $300,000, Florida is a great state to be in that price range. But anything underneath that price range, you start to go into bad neighborhoods, you start to go into areas that have problems like flooding. There's a whole package involved. So this is really one of the points that I want to stress out the most. If your budget for a house is $170,000, go ahead and cross Florida off the list. If your budget is over $300,000 or at about $300,000, Florida is going to offer you a lot. I've studied this myself, and I've told myself if I was in the $300,000 price range, Florida really starts to make sense. But at $170,000 or $200,000, you'll get so much better of a deal and neighborhood in Tennessee, Florida's kind of northern little edge up front, like almost to Georgia, Alabama. But, from like I-4 south, you're just not going to find it. And even it's starting to become like that even in North Florida, other than like some parts of the Panhandle, which are still reasonable. But I want to stress that out. Price point. Number 5, really important. If you're in that $300,000 price point, go for it. But below that, huge warning sign, you'll have better options in that price range in other states. And that is one point that a lot of people overlook. There's a lot of states that at a certain price point are really good. For example, Alabama, where I'm at now, to be under $150,000, it's probably the best state because for $160,000, you're getting like a 3-2 brick house on an acre in a really okay area. $160,000 in Florida gets you like a mobile home in an absolutely bad neighborhood or something just totally in the hood. So that's something you have to know that, and it's really important. That price point. If you can get into that price point and above, you'll be all right. If you can't do it, find another state. Number 6, you've heard of keeping up with the Joneses. Well, let's just call this keeping up with the Karens because there's not too many Jones in Florida. There's a lot of Karens. So keeping up with people, materialism, the pair of shoes, the newer car. When you move to Florida, everybody's living the beach lifestyle. The problem is they're rich, but you're not. There's a lot of wealthy people down there, and they're able to buy the new cars, buy the new shoes, but you're not. You'll find when you get out of Florida into Georgia, the Carolinas, Alabama, Kentucky, Indiana, somebody might drive an old pickup truck. In Florida, that doesn't exist. Everybody's trying to look fancy, and they want the BMW and the Mercedes-Benz and the exotic cars, and the maintenance is bigger, and everybody's just trying to look as fancy as they can. And a lot of people are able to do that because they're wealthy, but too many people, their lifestyle really doesn't afford it. So make sure that when you move down there, that you understand that you're, where you fit economically into that picture, because many people just dig themselves into debt, and now they have to take on more hours, and now they have a longer commute, and now they got to work a job they don't like, and that dream becomes a nightmare because now you're trying to keep up with so many things materially that it really steals the joy and happiness of living. Where in other states, people might have an old truck, but they're able to go fishing twice a week, or they're able to do, go to their kids' football game. Like, I see stuff here in Alabama that I never saw. I see parents taking their kids to baseball games or football games or to practice whatever sport their kids, or hunting with their kids. I never saw that in Florida. In Florida, the dad's working and working more hours, and like, when do you have time for your family? So don't get caught up in the materialism, because it's very prevalent with that beach lifestyle of people that, all they think about is cars and condos with a pool in the back and this and that, and they never actually leave time for their family because all they worry about is those material things. And that leads us to number 7. Because people are trying to live so far outside of their means, then they won't give you a tip at a restaurant. If you go work for them, they want to underpay you as much as they can. I mean, you see people living in these extravagant houses, and you go work for them, you think they'd give you a tip? No, they're trying to get a discount. And it's because they're stretching their lifestyle so far that now they don't, like, it's crazy how many people you'll meet in Florida who are like super stingy. They're living in these fancy communities with, $20,000 fees just to get in. They're living these extravagant lifestyles. Then, when you go work for them, they're the cheapest people you're ever going to meet because they're stressing. Again, like number 7, it's like the attitudes of people because of how far they've stretched their life, how much stress, how much materialism they put into their lives. Then they end up being angry, bitter, rude, disrespectful, stressed out, like ready to pop on somebody. And it just seems that that materialism creates stress, envy, greed, and a bunch of other bitterness, where you would, like, I always wonder, like, you live in a beach town, why are you so angry, why are you so upset? Like, you live in a place that in theory is perfect. Shouldn't these be like the happiest people in the world in theory, right? But it's not the case. They're bitter and they're angry and they're very cheap. They don't want to pay you for your work. And that's all because they're stretching their lifestyle so far that they have to, it just comes with the package. So that leads to that. Number 7, angry, bitter people, even though in theory they say they live in paradise. Number 8 is understanding diversity. Now, diversity in Florida is amazing. You've got Cubans, you've got Venezuelans, you've got Colombians. I love Colombian food. I love Cuban food. That's all great. Now, the problem with diversity is that people try to make the place they move to like the place they're from. To give you an example, I got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. I use this bedroom at the Textra as my office, and the other bedroom is pretty much empty. In Florida, you would grab those 2 bedrooms and rent them out to somebody for $800 a month. I'm not going to come to Alabama, where every house is a single family house, and turn my house into an efficiency or a duplex, because that's what I did in Florida to make extra money. No, here in Alabama, everybody has their own house, and you do what they, like when in Rome, do as the Romans or whatever. Like, I'm not going to come here to Alabama and practice the same crap that I practiced back in Florida. Here in Alabama, everybody has their own single family home. In Florida, they'll make an efficiency out of the garage. Am I going to come to Alabama now and try to do what I did back in Florida? No, you don't do that. In Florida, I used to play my music in the neighborhood till 3 in the morning. Here in Alabama, people don't do that. So, like, every place has different cultures, and there's nothing wrong with having your own culture, whatever it is, if you're from another state. The problem is that people, when they come from other states or other countries, they don't adapt, especially when it comes to business. Like here in Alabama, people have a way of doing business. I've learned how to do business like the people here. I don't do business like we did back in Florida. Back in Florida, you could bargain, you could ask for a discount. Around here, you really don't want to do that. People consider it offensive. So it's not that there's anything wrong with diversity. It's that a lot of those people that come from other places, maybe other states or other countries that are coming to Florida, they don't want to let go of whatever cultural stuff they did in their country, and it's really inappropriate and disrespectful to the locals. Like, I had a yard sale one time, and I had somebody from Haiti, and they were very like they're the pressure that they put on me and the prices they wanted. It was very aggressive, and I pretty much told them to leave my property, and they grabbed something and left with it without paying me for it. Like, that might be how you do business in Haiti, but it's not how you do business in Florida. So you're gonna run into people in Florida from all these other countries: Venezuela, Haiti, Cuba, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Canada. And a lot of those people, they don't want to like learn the proper way to do business and etiquette. Even like, I worked in Miami, and it was horrendous to work in Miami because every person that walked in was from a different country, and they had a politic about how they did business, and every customer was like a jack-in-the-box surprise. You don't know what you're going to get with these people because they all want a politic business the way they did back in their countries, and it's absolutely going to drive you nuts. It's unpredictable. You don't know what you're going to get, and it makes business kind of uncomfortable. Like, there's no standard for what's right and wrong, and a lot of people try to make a political point. You know, oh, you're coming down here. It's not a political thing. It's a cultural thing that people fail to recognize in Florida, that they have to learn like different cultural things that, yes, back in Cuba, I did a lot of things back in Cuba that you cannot do here in the United States. In Cuba, alcohol is given to minors normally. And I can tell you 1,000 things that we do in Cuba that's normal in my culture where I'm from. Or same thing, I'm from Florida, I'm coming to Alabama. I can tell you 1,000 things that we do in Florida that are super wrong to do here. And if you move to Florida, the diversity isn't the problem. It's actually great because you get all the cultural stuff you want, the food, the plants, all that cool stuff. You get a lot, but then you also get people who just don't want to conform to learning business practices and etiquette, and it's enough to make me lose my mind. And I just want to warn you, you're going to run into people, you know, if you're moving from a state that's like small town America and you're only used to like that standard small town thing, you're going to meet people who are going to have all types of politic about them, and a lot of times it's going to make you want to lose your mind. So if you're moving from New York City to Florida, or New York in general, or Connecticut, one of these big cities in the Northeast, it's normal for you to be in a rush and flick people off and be rude and not even look at the next person wherever you're from, because that's the culture where you're from. But if you're moving to Florida, this is a beach town, and you know, those aren't beach vibes. So, you know, try to figure out how you know, I'm talking directly to you moving to Florida, where if you're coming from a big city, you're not in a big city anymore. You're in a beach town. So, like, adjust your attitude, your speed of life, and your respect and all that. Make it proper for where you are. You left the big city. You were tired of whatever you're leaving behind in California or New York. So why are you going to, like, recreate that where you're moving to now? You left that behind. Now what's happening in Florida is that people from California and New York are leaving those places, but now they're turning Florida into New York and California, and eventually then they're going to have to move out of there. So the problem isn't the place, it's the person, the attitude that they're bringing with them. Number 9, are you going to rent in Florida? If you're planning on renting because you can't afford to buy a home, I hope you listen to me on this. Like, really listen to me. Please listen to me. Jobs in Florida pay horrible. Rents are expensive. The math doesn't add up. You can't just move somewhere to be like stagnant economically. Like, you can't just live stagnantly economically, okay? You need to think about your future. So if you're in a renting situation right now, don't go and rent a $2,000 apartment to have a gym and a fancy pool and some palm trees. Find a place where you can rent for $500 a month, so 5 years from now, you're able to be a homeowner. There's too many people moving to Florida with the renter, paycheck to paycheck mentality, and Florida doesn't have incomes, doesn't have jobs. The economy is based off tourism. So if you're a renter, I really hope you're listening to me and stay the crap out of Florida. There's not enough jobs to support your lifestyle. It's not a place where you want to do that. So if you're the renter type, where you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're renting, don't move to Florida. Move to like a place where like Iowa or Wisconsin, where you can rent for $600 a month or something and make $4,000 a month, so eventually you can be a homeowner. Florida has way too many people that are moving to Florida, and there's just paycheck to paycheck renters, And Florida is probably one of the worst states in the entire country to do that. So I'm sure you've heard that Alabama has the worst incomes and Alabama has the highest crime and the worst place to live. When you take away, listen to me, when you take away the 1% of top earners, okay? So the 1%, they can live wherever they want. Let's eliminate those guys, okay? And a lot of those people are moving to Florida for a tax burden. So they're making so much money that they move to Florida just so they don't have to pay taxes. When you get rid of those 1%ers of top earners and just look at the 99% in Florida, they're making $2,000 less a year. The 99% of people in Florida are making $2,000 less a year than people in Alabama, one of the worst rated states for like everything. So if you're a renting type, you're a paycheck to paycheck person, please don't move to Florida. You're not doing yourself a favor. You're not doing the local labor force. You're not doing anybody a favor other than the people that rent these condos for ridiculous amounts of money in apartments. So again, let me just say that one last time. The 99% of people in Florida, which is probably me and you, are making $2,000 a year less than the average person in Alabama, where I live, one of the worst rated states in the country. If you're the renting type, you're the paycheck to paycheck person, find another state. Florida's not the place for you. Number 10. Number 10, finally, the last point that you need to know about Florida is that if you are that working class person, if you are that poor person, there's so much pressure to get you out of Florida. Let me explain. As you can tell in this video how many police encounters I've had in Florida, I started just recording them and putting them on YouTube. I don't even know. I was having so many encounters with law enforcement. In Alabama, I've been here for 8 months. I've had one encounter with a police officer. I was speeding. I got a speeding ticket. It's right here, and I got to go pay it soon. But in Florida, I was getting pulled over at least twice a month. And the pressure to get rid of poor, not wealthy people in Florida is incredible. So if you don't match the demographic, if you don't match the social class down there, they call it climate gentrification. I've lived in Florida for 20 years. Florida is not going to flood. The ocean's not getting higher. Florida's not sinking. That's all garbage, okay? Climate gentrification is, let's grab these Cubans and Haitians and Jamaicans and put them in Atlanta and Birmingham so that we can take all these beaches and nice tropical weather for us. There's no such thing as climate gentrification. Florida's not sinking. I lived 20 years next to the ocean. I would have known if the water was rising. It's not rising. That's all a bunch of garbage and excuses to be able to justify what they're doing, which is putting pressure. Number 10 is pressure to make poor people leave. 80% of houses in some places in Florida are vacant. Yet the average working class person can't afford to live there. It's pressure from the rich to force the poor people out. Whether it's the cost of property taxes, whether it's what jobs pay, what people want to pay for jobs, the whole package is meant to ensure that only rich people can afford to live there. I thought a lot about the prices of homes in Naples, Florida, where I used to live. And I have a theory on it, and I want to listen to what you guys think. I want to hear you guys' opinions about this. I believe that where there's rich people, whether it's in Florida or anywhere, where there's wealthy people, the prices of homes are made artificially expensive to keep poor people from being able to afford those places. Do you hear what I said? And I want to hear what you guys' thoughts are on this concept. That areas, neighborhoods that are wealthy are artificially more expensive to ensure that poor people cannot be able to move into those neighborhoods. So if you're buying real estate in a market where there's a lot of these buyers with this mindset, they would rather pay more money for a price than more than what's worth for a property. They know they're taking a $40,000 or $50,000 loss on the property. They know they're never going to make a profit on it, but they feel that they're safe in this community because everybody in that community is of the same social class as them who's able to take that hit. and that's fine. A rich person can take a $70,000 or $80,000 hit on a house between maintenance, between HOA fees, between property taxes. But you, somebody who's poor and just trying to finance your first home, you cannot take a $70,000 hit on a house in a market that's stagnant like Naples, Florida, which since 2016 hasn't appreciated at all, where real estate is constantly hitting the market, not by people like me who need the money, but by somebody wealthy who died, where the family wants to make a quick distribution so they get their money, etc., etc. What do you guys think about this theory? Does it make sense? Is it real, or has Jose lost his mind? I mean, I've lost my mind a long time ago, but does this theory make any sense to you guys? I want to hear your opinions, and those are the 10 things I think you need to know about Florida. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Are there any points that kind of stood out to you in a positive or negative way? Let me get your feedback. Thank you so much for watching this entire video, and let me hear your thoughts and opinions.